All right, we are watching this spot over the Carolinas that is bringing rainfall that is heavy and will continue to bring rainfall because it's just like two pinched off highs are soaking everything. Cranky weather guy, along the front, it seems a renewed focus of development of the North Carolina, South Carolina coastal region has begun. Another mesolow forming along the front, starting to back into the coast tonight. That means more rain. And it's got a 10% chance of turning into something cyclonic now. It's an area of development we are watching, like hawks. And at some point, the oceans are going to totally get crazy with hurricane activity, we think. And I am watching for troubling activity around the 26th, which would be 5 days after the solar eclipse that is Ring of Fire-ish. And I think, it would come out of the homegrown Gulf area. And so, as with eclipses, usually 5 days after a major eclipse, we get some really, really, really wild weather. And it takes models a while to pick it up. And if I don't seem at the top of my game, please forgive me. I slept 8 hours. And I woke up totally freaking exhausted. I had a bunch of wild dreams. I just forgot what they are. Apparently, there are asteroids headed our way. Let's try and do our best to keep them from smashing into the planet, shall we? Yeah, Nathan the Nerd and I agree. This isn't much to worry about. Like I said, the big area of focus I've got now is between, the 25th, 26th. And then after that, July, August, September. But yeah, with all the planets on the same side and so many planets retrograde, and then this big, huge annular eclipse happening on Hilo de Fuego on the 21st, which is also summer solstice. We expect the 19th, 20th, and 21st to be wild and look for earthquakes and volcanoes. Speaking of, Volcano de Fuego in Guatemala is pretty dang active, along with Popocatépetl in Mexico. Pretty much that whole volcano range has been active extremely since 2019. Cranky weather guys doing his usual superb job of breaking everything down. But notice how all the highs have the one little low boxed in, which is causing all the weird weather off of the Carolinas. And tomorrow, and then I'm pretty sure the next day, this is tomorrow, and then this is the day after tomorrow, we're going to be looking at some tornadic weather in the Dakotas. And there was tornadoes in Canada. And you had Canadians talking about how they had super wild weather. And you don't ever hear Canadians talking about wild weather. You usually hear them calling Americans a bunch of cream puffs. So when Canadians say the weather got wild, believe them. Yeah, 2020 has been a bit of a beatdown, emotionally, physically, spiritually. But you guys have treated me so awesome. I'm just super grateful. You guys are wonderful. But yeah, look at that spot. See how it's just hanging over the Carolinas and the areas around there? Then you got your storms moving in the Pac Northwest to the USA Central and Canada Central. And the tippy tip of Florida has been getting a whole lot of rain as well. So that's been the trend for the flooding areas. And if it continues, it'll probably cause some major problems. It's a small world after all. Yeah, it'll be interesting to be tracking hurricanes in September because the waves rolling off Africa are pretty substantial. You don't really have to worry about them now, but late July, August, and September, they will definitely be something to watch. Check out this super big, beautiful aurora over Iceland. If you want to. Look away if you don't want to look at auroras. But yeah, big severe weather day tomorrow. And then Wednesday for the Dakotas. So stay on top of it. The Schumann resonance has been off the chain for about 2 straight weeks. And remember, atmospheric angular momentum is a key ingredient to good dinner time conversation. And remember, we got all the planets bunched up, and soon, when Mercury crosses over here, we'll have all the planets on the same side of the sun. So we're definitely going to be watching out for earthquake activity in the next week if you had to vote on this meteor thing that was seen from Australia to the United States and Washington, most people are voting UFO. And that would kind of fit into the 2020 narrative, as things just keep getting weirder. Colorado is doing its 2020 part with wildfires. A look at the East Canyon fire in southwestern Colorado, which grew to over 1,000 acres in size on Monday, prompting evacuations. I got a feeling we're going to have a real bad fire season this year. Eastern Siberia, Russia, and the Far East and Alaska are El Fuego also. We got the Mangum fire burning. What the heck? I hit a button near the Grand Canyon for Arizona, I believe. Look at that thing. That's a pretty nasty fire. And sometimes when they burn like that, what, did you see that crazy flame? I'm like, volcanoes? Question mark, asterisk. But then people get upset. And so, hey, guess what? Many in the northwestern United States will continue to deal with raw and rainy conditions between coolness. It's like cool, wet, cool, and then Yellowstone. There's a trigger word for you. Hundreds of thousands of people displaced due to severe flooding in China's Guangdong province. So, everybody's dealing with 2020 in their own way. Alex Lubbers is on the big bandwagon of people who think that this hurricane season is going to get pretty crazy. Yeah. And yeah, probably. Montana's got a winter storm watch going on. So that's interesting. Also, thank you, Vanaviva. That meant a lot to me. Oh, yeah, we're watching this spot. I mean, it's pretty anomalously crazy to just have one storm that sits, spins, and rotates over the Carolinas. This information brought to us by Cranky. And so it's going to continue for probably another week. Yeah, science keep pointing towards the possibility of us dealing with a pretty wet August through October. Check out these high clouds. Pink is zipping over low marine clouds. Yellow. Let's do it together. Ooh, pretty. I like colors. Brittany Boyer showing us that the fire season is literally fuego and lit. It's been a busy day for firefighters. A few fires in California also growing very quickly this evening. So you got a lot of spots. And it seems to me like Arizona's on fire more than usual. But I'm not in Arizona again. Mother Nature, Prayer Warriors, Atmospheric Defense Team, a huge dense Saharan dust cloud come off the west coast of Africa and make slow progress into the central Atlantic this week. Something for Texas to watch as we head into next week. And so, although angel dust may sound good, it's not. Saharan dust, which may sound bad, actually helps keep hurricane development down. So, sometimes labels can be misleading. Weather Deck showing us these storms that exploded over the Yucatan. That's pretty impressive for sure. You got some flash flooding happening in Budapest, Hungary yesterday. Isn't it weird to be hungry and then you just get a bunch of water? That joke bombed. Yeah, the dry places are really dry. And that joke was supposed to be a thirsty joke, but it totally failed, so I should stop talking about it. We've got some young, bright regions marked with blue arrows. Yellow is outlining the field of PCF. So that's exciting. So here's your wet spot for the next week. Random. I have a thing for lower lips. All right, sorry. Oh, hail kicked the crap out of Marshall's eggplants. Why you gotta be so mean, hail? The mid-Atlantic storm system is visually impressive. And now we're going to talk about that Canadian storm that had all the Albertian people in Calgary, I think, going, holy smokes, this weather was about crazy. That was crazy. Wait, what? But I'm going to segue back to the rainfall numbers. Widespread wet pattern is not a slam dunk yet, but it could be really wet, really, really wet, or really wet, South Texas and Carolinas. And if we do get some type of cyclonic activity around the 26th, like I'm expecting, I would expect it to go into southwest Texas. And so put that in your pipe and smoke it. It's apparently like Canada just got deluged in hail, where it like flooded, but with hail instead of water. All the hail melts and then it's watery flood. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, some areas in the Carolinas could see over 7 inches of rain in a week, so that's a lot. And I do think we're kind of in a calm period before the big storms. Yeah, check this out. This is waves of Alberta hail rain that happened. I'll say it again. Usually Canadians make fun of Americans for their reactions to weather. But Canadians were acting very American by being like, oh my God, this weather is so crazy. So then it had to be crazy. And then there were tornadoes also. So. All right, so everybody stay cool. I'll try to get my energy back. And I want you to have a great day. Have a great weekend. Oh, it's Monday. Okay, stay cool. Man, 2020 is weird. God bless everyone.